So we're gonna get started today, and the genesis of this, because we, as Michael knows, we don't give a fuck. We just say what we want to say, right? So
Facts.
Heard.
come cancel me, it's fine.
Right.
Okay, so Joshua texted me and asked me, had we talked about the BG situation, and in my early morning haze, I was like, "Who the fuck is BG?" I had no idea what he was talking about. I'm just keeping it real, right? I'm keeping
Yeah.
it real.
Yeah.
And Joshua told me Brittney Griner, and I said, no, me and Bryce have not talked about Brittney Griner on the Hardwood Nation podcast, just due to us not covering the WNBA. But it is a huge issue. So, with that said, Joshua and Mike, if you guys want to just take turns giving us a brief rundown of what's going on, and then we'll get into this. I have seen some of the social aspect. Then we'll get into the social aspect of why or why not she's not home.
All right, so Mike, you want to go? I mean, again, we can start off with the real layman's terms of things. So, long story short, she was over there for about 6 or 7 years playing basketball for one of the Russian teams over there. So, being a respectable citizen over there, playing ball, things all good until she brought drugs up in there in the form of a cart. They caught her, and as we know, Russian laws are not American laws, and a lot of things are very tight over there right now, being because of a war and whatever you want to go off of. So, not the best time to do that type of thing. So, she kind of, unfortunately, she walked into that type of deal knowing what was up. So she got caught, and now there's a whole Bring Brittney Home campaign going on the social side of things. And I know everybody likes to compare. If Trump got Jello out of China, Joe Biden could get, Brittney out of it. It's not the same situation. And plus, there wasn't a war going on. The relationship between the two countries are not the same. So that's, I think, the biggest points that people need to realize here. And again, I even me at the beginning was all like, oh, yeah, he could do it. He's the president. But as you start to dig into the facts of things and really see what's going on, it is not looking good, hasn't looked good, and is not looking any better for her in that situation. So, Mike, I don't know if you had any points on that before I keep going on it, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's going to be over there at least until December after her trial. The unfortunate side is that because of those type of situations where it was like Trump would have brought her back, what is Biden doing types of, to me, that's just more division. It's a more reason for us to be politically divided as people, right? And it divides the sports nation even more. And that's how to me, that's how they target certain demographics, whether it's sports people, whether it's political, etc. It all ends up tying together, right? So because of that type of energy and the effort that was to bring her back, she said, fuck it, I'm just going to plead guilty. So she pled guilty to the charge. Not that she didn't do it. I mean, she got caught with the cartridge, right? So, I mean, really, it's kind of like you were guilty. But the unfortunate side is that there really was not a lot of effort to do anything for it. But I get why. I mean, we are sitting here, and I believe it's, from my side, I believe that it's a political type holding as well. It's being used as like an opportunity for a high platform to say, hey, we've got one of your coveted athletes over here. Guess what? We're going to do whatever we can to keep her over here. And it's stopping her from making her money. She was over there overseas playing for, those national teams because she wasn't even getting paid enough over here, right? A lot of those WNBA players were like, hey, we're going to go play overseas because we get paid 10 times more, right? So it was just unfortunate the situation was what it was. But, I think that it's been blown up because that focus is of the effort side of it, which is unfortunate because, like I said, there's some facts here that need to be paid attention to, but there's also some emotional side as well. But when it comes down to law, you're supposed to be looking at facts here. So it's just unfortunate overall.
What you got, Bryce?
I pretty much agree with these guys for the most part. The problem is, it seems like they're asking for some real dangerous shit in return, like basically an arms dealer. And I think if this was a normal time, I don't even think she would have gotten arrested because I think, like Josh said, they've been going over there forever playing this or doing this for these teams. These oligarchs are the ones I think pretty much funding everything there. And so I think they had like a deal. You could pretty much come over here and do whatever you wanted to do. You were kind of like a famous athlete over here. We were paying you to come here. She was probably just used to doing it in the past and never really having issues or something like that, I would imagine. And so this just being right before the war started, I think just is what makes it a different ball game altogether. And I think if it wasn't going on, it wouldn't have happened. And I think we could have gotten her back probably pretty easily. But I think there's another element here that we can't really speak on. It's more of like the government level where they have to make a deal and feel comfortable. And even though she's a high profile athlete, she's still like a civilian. It's not a military. Like, we're not getting an arms dealer back, nothing like that equivalent, even though we're not supposed to have shit like that going on anyways. But
we do.
Of course.
I'm not even saying it's like something I've seen this, but I believe there's like an underlying racial tone to it, just based on some tones and attitudes I've seen. Because to make the argument that we've been talking about here so far is like pretty level-headed and reasonable. And so I think you see some more outrageous takes on the internet, and then that brings out the other side on the opposite direction. And I've just seen like people are really good at hiding it, but I can tell from their tones and attitudes that like maybe if this was a different athlete or a different person altogether, I'm talking like maybe white instead of black or mixed, maybe you would see more, at least motivation from the other side of people speaking out on it. Like I said, I'm not even sure if that's right or wrong. It's just I know how these situations can get piggybacked, made political, and made racial, and I think any chance that people do that, it's kind of disgusting. Whether or not it's for the good or for the bad, you know what I mean? It's just like that. I don't think that's what this situation is, but I can't help but feel that kind of vibe off certain people. Like no one's specific, but it's just like when you've been around it your whole life, you kind of know that like there's something else going on here. And like I said, sometimes it's pretty gross. But I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just saying it's a vibe I picked up on. And whether or not we think they should do whatever to get her home or think that they can or cannot, I don't think we need to bring in these other aspects to it because it just muddies the waters.
Well, you bring up a good point. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut in here real quick, but I know I made my points here. But Bryce, you made a good point in regards to that, and that's where I was kind of going with the division side, because it always breaks down to where it's funny, like a lot of situations that we see, whether when it's on television, for instance, it all boils down to racial division at some point, right? So you could be reading those undertones correctly, because the easiest way to divide all four of us on here from their perspective is race, right? That's the easiest way to divide anybody. And so when that happens, you're going to throw something like this in there. Then you get, what do you do with the LGBTQ community, right? Stuff like that, because there's laws protecting LGBTQ people now, and it's like, well, what are we doing? So it's interesting the way that the narrative continues to go and continues to change, and the things that are derived from it. So one thing that you brought up, and I don't know if Josh recollects this as well, but I think that part of what was going on as far as any of the negotiations at one point when they had Brittney detained, we had, I think, 2 Russian war spies held up. So they wanted those in return to bring her home. And it's like, hey,
and we hit them with sanctions. We hit them with economic sanctions that they were still trying to get around. So there was a lot of drama going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically trying to get leverage on each other. Whereas, like, the China situation a while back, even though it's not like we get along great with them, it's not like we were at like funding someone that they were at war with. It wasn't that crazy. Right now it's just a crazy time for Russia to deal with anybody, let alone us.
Yeah.
On top of the fact there's 40 other Americans they're still trying to get out of the same exact situation. So let me just paint the social picture here, right? Brittney is fast figuring out that she is not as important as she thinks she is. And it sucks to say that. It really does, because I would like her home. I think she's an American. Everybody should want her back. this is where the divide happened, and Bryce hit it right on the nail with the racial deal. When Brittney came out and said she disowns being an American and all this, that during the Trump deal, everybody kept that in the back of their minds, and now she's in a situation, and now I'm telling you, like, so over at Dot of View, sometimes we go into True Social to talk to some people and stuff. I have my thoughts about that app, whatever. But I know that they like to go in there and do that too. I can't be on there more than 5 minutes, but they really are like, nope, you put yourself in that situation. Nope, figure it out. Nope, you didn't want to be an American. So that whole other side is like, screw it. She put herself in that situation where it's like, yo, this is an American. Like, come on. Like, at the end of the day, but the timing of it is awful. Like Mike said, the two spies, right? We're hit them with sanctions. We're funding their enemies. They got that whole Russia-Ukraine deal is so deep. It is not even funny. So for us even being in there and meddling with that, it's not even. So yeah, she just kind of got caught up at a really bad time.
Yep. I want to add something. I know historically Russia has been against LGBT as well. Historically. So you have the racial component, and then you have the sexual orientation component. And just to put a cap on it, one, this is great shit, by the way, but just to put a cap on it, and please, God, don't take offense to what I'm saying here, but I think we would probably have a different outcome if she was blonde, blue-eyed, straight. I think we would have a different outcome.
Okay? Yeah, now I do too.
We're just gonna leave it at that.
I think at the very least there would be more of a pouring of support from people. Right. Sure. Right. Yeah. Whether or not we actually got anybody home, because I think that's a bigger thing right now. But you would have people reaching out more or talking about it more. That's without it.
She looked like Gabby Petito. She'd probably be on the plane coming back home right now.
Yeah, it's possible. It's definitely possible.
There's an argument to be made there.